What's up guys, welcome to Once Human. In today's video I'm going to show you 10 base tips in 10 minutes or less. So start the clock and let's go. Tip number 1. You want to build on even, flat ground. If you do decide to build in a hilly area, the ground could cut into your base or it won't allow your build to snap in place. Like right here for instance, I built into this hill and it won't allow me to slap the foundations on. The same thing goes for trees and rocks, but they will appear inside the base and that's just kind of annoying to see. So really, the flatter the ground, the more room you actually have. Tip number 2. Live close to a major city. You don't have to live close to a teleporter because your house is a teleporter, but for instance, I live next to Blackfell. The main reason I chose Blackfell is because the whole city is surrounded by elites and it gives you pretty decent loot drops. The major reason is just so I can sell. Your energy links become very scarce during the late game due to mimetics and upgrading gear, so living close to somewhere that you can sell things to that you don't need really does help out. Tip number 3, you want to build in partial pollution and oil fields. One of the best places that I found is directly to the east of Blackfell. This whole area is polluted. The way to tell if you're in a polluted area is to see the number on the back of your backpack. The higher the number is, the more polluted the area is. It doesn't necessarily matter how high the pollution is, but as long as you see the number 1 on your backpack, you should be alright. But first, let's go talk about oil spills. When looking for oil, just look at the ground and you'll see this grayish, gravelly looking path. That's where you want to build to get oil. You can also find oil on your map. Just look for all these little brown streaks. Going into tip number 4, you want to build water pumps in these areas for crude oil. Once you get those, you're going to put those into your refining facility, and that's going to make portable mixed fuel, which then can go into your cars. Now you got unlimited fuel. Now going back to the pollution, this is a great example on what exactly to do. This player built his water pumps just so slightly in the pollution. These gather polluted water, which then go into his purifiers. His purifiers turn it into impure acid. He then takes the impure acid and purified water and puts both of those into a barrel. The barrel then will make acid for you. So not only are you making oil for your cars, but now you're also making acid for yourself. Wait, that kind of came out wrong. Should I redo that? Nah, let's move on. Tip number 5, you want to make the best generators possible. After a while, your energy does get very limited and you can only make a few generators at a time. Because this player is in the polluted zone, he's able to make the Deviant Energy Generators. Each of them are pumping out 35 watts apiece. Not to mention he also has an electric eel that makes the generators power even more. So just by saying that, he can probably power his whole base with just the 3 generators. Tip number 6, make an automatic farm. The reason you want an automatic farm is because all the crops you can grow go into a lot of the foods that you can make, which gives you a lot of buffs to help you fight those bosses. A couple things go into making an automatic farm. The very first thing is where your water comes from. For this farm, the water comes from the rain catchers that are on the top, which then flow down to the storage container on the bottom floor. From the storage container, the water then goes into the water purifiers, making pure water, which will then move on to the irrigation system, keeping the plants nice, watered, and happy, exactly to the level of their liking. Okay. Now that water's all taken care of, if you throw a couple grow lights up on top, it'll keep your plants nice and happy. Now, the cool thing about doing all this inside is that you can control the light levels as well as the water levels of the plants, because each of them have a very specific area that they like to be in when it comes to those 2 factors. Now, the last part of the automated farm are these little guys right here, the Growshroom Deviants. You can find these guys at the teleporter to the north of Sunbury Middle School. Sunbury Middle School is on the south of the map, but directly to the left of the teleporter there's a cave. That cave is full of mushrooms. Just loot the mushrooms, eventually you'll get one of these guys.
Hello there.
These guys are really cool because they will harvest your crops as well as plant your crops. So as long as they have seeds in their inventory, it's completely automatic. This brings me to tip number 7. Water works with gravity. When you go into build mode, you can see which way your water is flowing by the direction the lights are flowing. Anytime you need to transport water, you just need to make sure it's flowing slightly downwards in order to get it to the correct place. The only way around this is to install these water pumps. The water pumps will allow you to flow against gravity going upwards. Water pumps also act as wall terminals when it comes to the water pipes. It just helps keep your base look a little more clean. Tip number 8. This one's more of an opinion, but to me, territory deviants take priority. These are deviants that work in your territory to gather you supplies so you don't have to. You can tell which deviants I'm talking about by looking at the top right next to their name. It'll be light blue and it'll say territory, opposed to saying something like combat in red. The reason I think these take priority is because Digby Boy brings you ore to smelt, Paper Boy brings you things to dismantle, Rabbit Boy brings you flowers and seeds, and then of course the mushroom guys we just talked about, they do all your farming for you. I don't know, tell me what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Tip number 9, split your base in half. Have one side be your actual base and have the other side be for your Stardust Resonant Filter. The reason you want to do this is when you do start to farm Starcrum, the monsters that come won't attack your base. They will attack that area. But if they attack your base, there's a chance you can lose a lot of your structures. So keep them separate so they only attack the one building. And finally, tip number 10, for the memetics you're not using, go ahead and delete them, get some points back. Here's what I mean by that. For example, I only have 2 points right now and I don't really use defense that much. So if I go ahead and refund that, it then gives me 5 points that I can spend somewhere else. Now I know some of you may be asking, if you do refund it, do you lose the builds you already have? The answer is no. So just to prove it, I built a stone platform here. I'm then gonna go into my memetics and I'm going to refund the stone platform. And once that is done, we'll come back out. You'll see the platform is still here, and that's how it'll work for every memetic regardless of structure. Now I have those points and I can go put it anywhere else. If you want to do some crazy building and go all marble everything but you don't have the memetics, now you can. The only thing to be mindful of when doing this is you only get about 30% of the energy links back that you spent on the memetics to begin with. So just keep that in mind. And there they are, guys, 10 tips in 10 minutes or less. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you like this kind of video, and I'll see you in the next one.